Good morning, everyone. This is Brad Matheny. Today is the 18th, Tuesday of August. This is the Plan Your Trade video for Tuesday, the 18th of August. And we're looking at a kind of a wild rotation here. I did warn of volatility last week because of, let me see if I have it over here. Yep. Because of the volatility index being so high, indicating that we could get a pullback in this move. I don't expect a massive pullback, a massive breakdown. I do expect the markets to continue to trend higher based on the other data, particularly the smart money index over here, right here, indicating that we're in a solid uptrend. And we're not getting any real rotation, but we are getting some volatility off of that extremely overbought mode. We are now currently, and I have to move this higher and move this higher off the highs. We are now currently in the defense level. So these are the defense levels I talked to you guys about. These are the areas where price will likely attempt to build some sort of a base and stall. So we are back into that defense level. Okay, we are likely going to be building a base here and rallying back out of this in some way, shape, or form. I suggest that traders look to these lows down here near these, and let me change this. That is correct. This is correct. Okay. So we're going to be looking at some sort of a base here, more than likely off of this lower rotation in the SPY. You can see we've come down to this lower range. Technically, we're looking at a double bottom today. Markets are already down 0.42%. Nasdaq's down 1.22. So it's lost its momentum. It looks like it's kind of, I would say, reached an apex here, but we don't know yet. So we're in that pullback. We could get a little lower, but I think we're going to hold up above this defense level. At least that's my expectation right now. So we're looking at a cycle pattern today of an inside breakaway in trend mode. Then we get a breakaway and carryover. Then we get a carryover in counter trend mode. And then we get an inside breakaway. So we got a lot of inside breakaways here. And I would expect the markets to try to, as I've drawn here, pull back on that initial weakness and then resolve back into an uptrend. I don't see why the markets are moving downward right now. I see trending still being very positive, and I'm expecting the markets to attempt to move up into this 8,000 area before we run into some resistance. So if I come over here, redraw these as a line instead of a brush or a highlighter, theoretically, I would be expecting this type of a move in the market up to 8,000, potentially running into some resistance, stalling, and then rallying back up. So again, I would be looking at this as riding this wave down, potentially reaching an apex already, potentially basing and bottoming. We could get a little lower, but I doubt we're going to get below this 7,500 area. I think really we're going to end up stalling and basing around this defense level and rallying. But we'll see. The markets could have more downside to them right now, but again, it's a pullback in an uptrend. That's what I want you to understand. Okay, Nasdaq's doing the same thing. You can see this rally here. I'll show you the highlights. We'll get rid of these two lines. And we'll go over here to the Fibonacci levels. We'll draw this one. And we'll draw this one. And as of right now, the defense levels are down here and up here. And then we have intermediate defense levels right in here. And change the color of that one, make it maybe light purple. And then we have a second defense level down here. Oops. So understand that we're right down into that defense level right now. And we've got very strong support right in this area on these defense levels in this area right here. So if we do get a pullback today and we do get deeper selling, I would expect the Nasdaq to try to find support down here near this low and into this defense level. maybe down around this 28,900 area before we bounce back out of it. So I really do believe this is a pullback, volatility pullback in an uptrend. Okay, we'll move over here to gold and silver. Get rid of that little line. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Try to show you guys what's going on. Get rid of some of my previous lines. So we're playing out through this rotation, and I'm going to count it out to you again. And I'll redraw it so you can understand. We're moving up through this A, B, C, D, potentially E rally. And this D low right down here could be a volatility low breakaway. Same thing is happening right here. A, B, C, D, E breakaway. And we could get into a volatility low right over here. Now, what we're looking at, guys, is a rolling cycle top off of this high. You can see we've already broken down. I'd have to readjust this off of this high and extend this out a little bit, about to there, and here maybe. And you can see the flag. A, B, C, we should be moving down into this D rotation here around 4390, 4400 on gold. We should be moving down into this D rotation, 6445, 6450 or lower, moving into this volatility low, potentially getting down into this low and rallying. Potentially getting down into this low and rallying. So given where we're at, it looks like we're going to probably play this out today, maybe part of tomorrow before we get into a big gold and silver rally, or at least potential gold and silver rally setting up. And the gold and silver cycle patterns for today are an inside breakaway and bullish explosive trending. We get that pop pattern tomorrow and counter trending. Counter trending theoretically is going to be, if it continues to play out to the downside, a big reversal to the upside tomorrow. So this pop pattern could be our breakaway pattern, followed by a bit of a pause, followed by a continuation pattern higher here with gold going into Friday. So be prepared for a pretty explosive upside move here. I would tell you that we get through today, maybe get through the bottom here overnight, and then we're moving into a pop pattern, which could be a very big rally phase up out of this low, and could be a very explosive move in both gold and silver. Pretty excited about this. I think this is going to be a pretty good move. Now, we could see the dollar continue to weaken. Dollar weakened yesterday. It's down 99.58. If we were to get down to 98, 98.40, well, and call it 99, and then 98.40, 98.50, that would be enough to propel gold, in my opinion, quite a bit higher. Okay, we'll come over here to Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a beautiful ripper move yesterday. We're not out of the woods yet. Let me find my main. Here we go. We're not out of the woods yet. You can see I talked to you about how we're going to be moving through this sideways formation, consolidation, possibly out until the 24th, 25th. KD posted some things about potential breakaway. Is this it? Is this the move everybody's waiting for? Nope, not yet, in my opinion. We still have about another week to go, maybe 6, 7, 8 trading days before we get into this breakaway rally phase. So understand that, in my opinion, no, we're consolidating. This is a nice false move with good volume, but it's not going to turn into a ripper rally yet. Now, we have this cycle pattern. This could be a bit of a rolling trend. In other words, because we've already established the 5, A, B, C, D, moving into E, we could move into some volatility over here before we break away. But I'm not sure that's going to happen. I just want you to be aware that we're reaching the end of the flag apex. This longer pattern has already moved through 5, A, B, C, D, into E. So we could be getting into some big, broader volatility swings over here. Okay? Meaning Bitcoin could become, very volatile, very aggressive, swinging up and down over the next 4, 5, 6 days, maybe longer. Again, the Bitcoin pattern is a blank pattern moving into a crush pattern. Crush pattern, I would typically be looking for a downward move on a crush pattern. So I would suggest we could stall out today and then move back down into these deeper lows. I think that that's likely. So if I were to come up here and spread this out, I would tell you that getting rid of all my lines, I would tell you that we're more than likely going to be looking at some sort of a rolling breakdown before we get the breakaway. So I would suggest that we get this rolling temporary low down here, 62,000, before we get this breakaway. I would think that the volatility would prompt a move outside of this range or within this extreme extended range, giving us this potential deep low around 62, just below 62,000, before we go ahead and get into a breakaway. So I think you just need to be patient right now with Bitcoin. And then lastly, UNG. I didn't get into this trade yesterday. I'll probably get into it today. It's basing and bottoming. I did get into a couple of my TT scanner trades yesterday. I shared those with you over here. These were the trades that I got into. And again, the reason I got into these, I looked at pricing for holding long term, how much I wanted to get into. XBI is ranked at a 7 with a shift of a +6. That's a pop shift trigger. We've got already in a long trade, 42 weeks. We've hit the targets. Moderate thrusting. I think that we're still rolling through this. And with, again, biotech and healthcare have been a very strong performer. QTech is again NASDAQ Tech 100 minus 3.4. We had a good solid pop shift trigger here. That's the reason I took it. Minor thrusting pattern. That's why I only took one in these trades. Over here, IYW Technology 7. I like this trade with a 5. I thought that I would spread it around with technology. Obviously, going to be a little under pressure with NASDAQ down. FDN, Dow Jones Internet. We had a new long trigger come up with a 27, pretty solid thrusting level, was a 6 with a -1. So understand it went down from 7 to 6. And then we had IGM, expanded tech sector, with a 6 +6, moved very strongly to the upside. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time to wait this out. So like I said, I bought into these 30+ day options, preparing for, what could be a nice little 4 or 5 week move to the upside. We'll see how it plays out. Like I said, the idea here is if we get a move 2, 3, 4 weeks into this, then I'm going to be able to book these things at a decent profit and play them effectively. Generally, every single one of these was about a $400 to $600 trade. So I've got about maybe $2,000 in these trades. Okay, so we are going to leave it there. Looking at getting into UNG a bit today, picking up a few extras, and riding out this trend. Remember, I think that we're looking at volatility rotation here, and I really think that we're going to run into some support and bounce back out of this based on my upward trending. So we're getting the volatility early. It's hitting. Hello, volatility pullback. I think we're going to base bottom and roll back into bullish trending before the end of this week. Okay, guys, let's go get some. Talk to you later.